Hello friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers. And today it's all about something I've been wanting to get my hands on for a while, and finally did right around the holidays, and it's taken me forever to actually get around to doing a video on it, but that is ToyWorld Spaceracer. I'm going to say up front, I freaking love this guy. For starters, UFO mode is just freaking adorable. It's so great. It's just this, like, squished in, stout, stocky little stereotypical 1950s sci-fi movie UFO shape, and I love how unapologetically silly this is. And I mean, it's just a disc, kind of, with this little thing on top, and then it's got these little boosters in the back there, which I'm not a huge fan of in robot mode, but we'll get to that. I also like the little pew-pew blasters on the front there. It's just such a cute little UFO mode. On the underside, too, it's got something out of, like, I don't know, this almost looks like similar to the underside of the Super X from Godzilla 1985, or Return of Godzilla, depending on which version you're talking about. Just the details down here. Doesn't have the weird face, though. But, yeah, it's neat. I like that they added these extra details on the bottom, because like you don't really see much of this in robot mode, though I guess you do kind of see this in robot mode, but still this whole section in the center you don't see, and they didn't need to be as detailed with it as they were, but they did it, and it's great. I don't know what else to say about this little UFO. It's just adorable, and I love it. Now, color-wise, I know some people are not super into the darker green and the gold color instead of yellow. I personally could not give a crap, because as much as I love the other Cosmos figures that I have, I am not a purist by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm totally fine with the liberties they took here. In fact, I actually kind of like this color scheme a little bit better. I think the green and gold actually works pretty well. My only real gripe about this is I feel like maybe they could have made the green a little bit lighter, or made the gold a little bit lighter, because they're a little too similar in tone. It makes things look just a little bit muddied, sort of, color-wise. But again, it's not a huge deal. I just wish that like something on him was a little bit brighter. As it is, he's like holiday wreath tones. He's not so much, doesn't really scream toy, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine with the pine tree green. It would be nice if it was a little brighter, but it's fine. It really is fine. But there's not a whole lot to say about his adorable little UFO mode, so let's move right on to the size comparisons. And here we have the UFO with our Samus amiibo and a Power of the Primes Deluxe. And it's a pretty decent sized UFO. I mean, he's not huge, but he's very solid. A whole lot of robot is compacted down into this goofy little shape. And because I can, here he is with Generations Cosmos, aka Transformers Adventure Atoms, because this is actually the Japanese version, and G1 Cosmos. I actually have a G1 figure to do a comparison with for once. I know, right? And what's interesting is this is the first time I've really gotten them next to each other in vehicle mode, and there are a lot of similar design cues across the board here. I'm actually surprised by just how similar they are to each other. I mean, if we're comparing Spaceracer to Atoms/Generations Cosmos here, you can see that, like, if nothing else, the cannons on the front are totally being mirrored here with the tiny cannons on the front of Spaceracer there. And, you know, you've got these arrows there that are kind of mimicked there. And, as usual, the button head on top. And then this is where the real comparison is. I'll get this out of the way. Aside from the color being different, there are a lot of elements to these two that are surprisingly similar. I mean, Spaceracer's a bit more up, it's a bit more vertical than Cosmos, but the general idea of this UFO shape is actually very kind of on point for both of them. Right down to this little lip right at the top there. Spaceracer totally has that little lip too. Granted, Cosmos doesn't have the blasters on the front, but still, they homaged quite a fair bit of this guy. That's actually pretty impressive, like even the little boosters in the back. And these bits here, it's like, yeah, ToyWorld was definitely looking at the G1 toy when they put this guy together, and it shows. And just because we can, Here we have all of them with their little heads sticking out. They can all do the same thing. It's adorable. Oh, I love it. Alright, I think that is enough silliness, so let's get Spaceracer in the middle here so we can get him into his robot mode. And here we have Spaceracer in robot mode, and I still very much love this. I believe the way I described him when I first saw the prototype images of the figure was that he is a dumpy robot man, and I love him because he's just such a little doughy looking robot. It's so great. So great. Love it. It's like, yeah, his proportions are a little bit goofy, but I kind of really love that because it matches the somewhat goofy UFO mode, and it just looks so good. Handful of nitpicks getting him out of the way right now. The gimmick with the eyes that you can like turn them around so that you've got the bigger eyes or the smaller eyes. I hate it. It doesn't work well on mine, and it just seems completely pointless. I feel like they could have just had a solid head and not done anything special with it, and it would have been just fine. The shoulders here. There are these hinges here where they're supposed to kind of sort of lock in, but they don't really. It's like a very soft locking. I just wish those locked in a little better. And I don't like the sleeve guns. I mean, I don't know what they could have done with them aside from either add a ton more engineering to make them hinge around and up into the arms, or have them be like a parts forming thing that you can remove them. But I can look past them because I really do like this robot mode. And now here, we get a lot more yellow than green. And it works too, because you still get those elements of the UFO, but because you've got more yellow in here, he does still look pretty distinct from that alt mode. And he still has the same chest, of course. But yeah, I really like this robot mode. I like how his proportions make him look more like a dwarf from Lord of the Rings or something like that. He's just like shorter and stockier. It's really cool. And of course, you've got the underside of the UFO there for the arm detail, which does look good. And yeah, again, the color scheme does not really bother me. I know that all of the gold bits are supposed to be yellow. I do still maintain that I think one of these colors could have been a bit brighter, which I think would make it seem a little bit less muddy, because it is a little bit muddy, I will admit, but it still looks great, and I'm not going to lose any sleep over the color scheme here. It looks totally fine. Yeah, I love this guy. He's just, even just standing there, just the way he's built, the way he's designed, he exudes a lot of personality. It's so much fun. Anyway, let's move him off to the side so we can do our size comparisons. And first off, here's Spaceracer with a Power of the Primes Deluxe and the amiibo there, and you can see he doesn't have much going on in the height department. He is actually relatively short and, as I said, stocky, but that is kind of the point. And I think it works really well. I mean, he, again, compacts really nicely into that little UFO. The transformation is overall simple enough and direct enough, but it's like really effective. And yeah, he's not necessarily tall, but I think this aesthetic works really, really well for Cosmos. So I'm totally fine with him being sort of squished, because it looks so good. Yeah, he's a little bit shorter than a normal deluxe, but he is definitely sturdier. Like, there is a distinct weight difference between him and the Power of the Primes Deluxe there. And yeah, I'll be getting to the Dinobots eventually. Let me just say off the bat here, Slug is not my favorite, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, he might be short, but he looks so good. And I do love those stocky proportions. They just fit him so well. And because that's what we've been doing, here we've got Spaceracer with Generations Cosmos / Transformers Adventure Atoms and G1 Cosmos. And again, you can see some elements in the Generations and Venture version of Cosmos here that are somewhat tied into Spaceracer here, but really it's Spaceracer and G1 Cosmos where the real similarities are. And I'm just moving these in a little bit closer to each other and readjusting the camera here. You can kind of see that like the shape of his feet is totally in line with that. The design of his waist section totally meant to mimic that. Even the arm designs, where you've got that kind of flat panely space and then the bulbous thing there, it's just perfectly evokes that. And their fingers on Cosmos, but their wrist cannons on Spaceracer. And then you've got the chest detailing, which on Spaceracer it's more of a like nondescript, just detail. Cosmos, it's more like a computer console, but it doesn't really make sense as a computer console. But then like the shapes and overall design between the two are still there. I'm sort of in awe of just how much Spaceracer takes from G1 Cosmos. It's kind of uncanny just how similar the design elements are. I think they really managed to capture a lot of the stuff from this guy, minus the Autobot logo fused to his feet anyway. But like, even the lines that they've got going through there. Spaceracer has a similar set of molded details going through in the feet there. It's really incredible. Yeah, the color's not necessarily right, but like the overall design elements that they incorporated into Spaceracer are surprisingly very evocative of the G1 toy. Gotta hand it to ToyWorld. And I mean, granted, this is only the second ToyWorld figure that I have, but this is a fantastic toy. Like, there are some little elements to it that I do kind of wish were handled a little differently, but overall, it's fun to mess with. He's fun to pose. He's just got this really, I love the look of this guy so much. He exudes personality just because of the way he is shaped and the way that all of his design elements come together. I absolutely love it. And just real quick, take a look at the back there. You can see that he also cleans up quite nice too. I think it's kind of funny how when you look at him from the back, it kind of looks like he's wearing a shirt, like a sleeved shirt. But yeah, he is very clean, very cool, very fun to transform. I'm sorry I waited as long as I did to get my hands on this guy, but I'm glad I finally did because he's so worth it. But anyway, that is going to do it. That has been my look at ToyWorld's Spaceracer. So what are your thoughts in the weird little toy arms race that is third-party Cosmos Masterpiece alikes? What's your preferred figure, if you even have one? Because as I understand, they're all sort of roughly the same size, but they all have very different aesthetics going on and very different transformation schemes. Are you bothered by the color scheme that Spaceracer has going on? Because like I said, I'm totally ambivalent to it either way. A little bit more brighter colors somewhere would be nice, but again, it doesn't bother me at all. But like I said, I could totally see where it would bother other people who are a bit more on the purist side when it comes to the color schemes, or just want something a little bit brighter on their shelf. And if you do have Spaceracer, are there any issues that you have with him similar to what I do? Like, have you found a way to get those shoulders working a little bit better? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to comment down below. I love hearing from you all. And while you're at it, please feel free to like or subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art in all of its intentionally silly and stocky and somewhat dumpy glory is more than meets the eye.